So 26 out of the 27 drivers venture out onto the circuit. Here is your starting grid for Junior Rotax final number 1. Following on from the ranking after heats, it's Austin Lee from Germany on pole position. He'll be joined by Latvia's Gustavs Jusakovs on the front row. It's an all-Dutch row 2 with Kasper Schomans and Tommy van der Stroys, followed by Croatia's Leon Zelenko and Enzo Bol, also representing the Netherlands, completing row number 3. Alberto Kiko Fracassi from Italy and Denmark's Mikkel Pedersen round out row 4. Completing the top 10, it's Belgium's Boluet and Tomas Rudokas from Lithuania. Maxim Sechurko is alongside Scott Marsh on row 6 with Dion van Werven and Hungary's Aaron Krepsik rounding out the top 7 rows. Tino Sidler joined by Great Britain's Max Cuthbert on row 8 with Vic Stevens and Lotus Tveen on row 9. Georgios Kafantares and Noah Janssen complete the top 20 with Martin Ernesto Varga, Sebastian Koch, Alejaz Vidmar, Leandro Fischer, Maximilian Schreier and Olivier Jonkers bringing up the rear of the field. Christoph Sala was a non-starter yesterday and looks to be the same case here today as well. Now we up the ante. From 7 minutes plus an additional lap in the heats, it's 11 minutes plus an additional lap. So strategy will be even more crucial. Overtakes will have to be done with 100% full commitment and also having the space on track to facilitate the overtake that may be required that could decide the difference. So now Austin Lee and Gustavs Jusakovs starting to help the field to bunch up into the 2x2 rolling start formation. The red lights are ignited on the starting gantry. So 26 drivers, 13 rows of competitors, 11 minutes on the clock plus an additional lap. Oh, and we've already had a spin, and that was Enzo Bol, I believe, that's just turned around and has managed to get himself. Now that could compromise him, and he's now at the back of the grid. So there is a spot on the outside of row number 3. Here we go. First of 2 finals about to get under starters' orders. Into the tram lines. Lee on pole. Jusakovs alongside. Into the tram lines. Lights are out. We're off and racing. Good start by Austin Lee and a great start by Kasper Schomans, who punches his way into second. Leon Zelenko looking for third. As Enzo Bol going around the outside. He's already overtaken 3 drivers, and we've got a spinner. That's Maximilian Schreier at the back of the field. And the 2:53 gets back underway. So into turn 5 for the first time. Austin Lee leading the way. Kasper Schomans was looking for the inside going into turn number 6. Now Leon Zelenko looking up the inside. As they make their way through turn number 8. Zelenko now retaking 3rd position. Tommy van der Stroys looking to go up the inside. That's on Gustavs Jusakovs. Alberto Kiko Fracassi rounds out the top 6. Into turn 11. Austin Lee now starting to stretch an initial advantage over Kasper Schomans. As the German driver powers his way over the crest. And through turn number 14. Lap 1 completed. Austin Lee leads. Second, Kasper Schomans. Keep your eyes on Tommy van der Stroys, who rounds out the top 4. He is hunting down Leon Zelenko in 3rd place. And at the moment, Enzo Bol looks to have sprinted up the order very, very quickly indeed. And looks like he's up into 12th place, well, 13th place behind Scott Marsh, who rounds out the top 12. And these weather conditions are proving to be tricky. Drivers using unconventional racing lines like we saw in the senior Rotax second chance heat earlier on. Austin Lee already stretches gap to over 0.8 of a second after the opening lap. But now that could be closer to a second. So points are awarded for the drivers in the top 15. As Enzo Bol has just gone around the outside of Scott Marsh through turn number 11. Scott Marsh just trying to get the carts to the checkered flag. Also hoping that he might have an opportunity to make up some positions in the process. Lap 2 completed. Gap now between first and second extends to 1.1. So it's a top 3 lockout at the moment for JJ Racing. Tommy van der Stroys running with Buvin Power. Rounds out the top 4. Gustavs Jusakovs started on the front row in second. Now in 5th place, ahead of Denmark's Mikkel Pedersen. top 6. There seemed to be some gaps stretching out, but Tommy van der Stroys was looking early doors to get past Leon Zelenko. And that was very, very close indeed. I think that was Enzo Bol and Max Cuthbert nearly having a tangle. That was going through in towards turn number 9. Maximilian Schreier has made a nice little recovery from his spin earlier on in the race on lap 1. Coming out of turn 3, he's now up into 22nd position ahead of Olivier Jonkers. But Austin Lee casually extending his advantage. He's running in the high 1 minute 5, so 1 minute 5.875 for the 272 representing Germany. Van der Stroys within 6.5 tenths of Leon Zelenko, trying to go for 3rd position. Enzo Bol has got his way up into the top 10, which will net him 6 points by my, well, 6 points by my reckoning. I think it would be 5 points. Scott Marsh currently sitting in 12th position. But with 7 minutes still to go, plus an additional lap, anything can happen. The unpredictability of wet weather conditions can throw something into the mix. And there is something coming, and the rain is falling once again. So the track will evolve, or de-evolve, not evolve in terms of having a dry racing line. There will be further wet weather saturating the circuit. There's already enough standing water on the start-finish straight as Austin Lee completes lap number 4, still leading the race. 1.6 seconds over Kasper Schürmanns. Zelenko and Van der Stroy still 3rd and 4th respectively. But Zelenko not quite out of the woods yet, because Tommy van der Stroy was less than half a second behind him after lap number 4 and was the best part of over 1.5 quicker. So van der Stroy, Zelenko's off, and Tommy van der Stroy has already gone up into 3rd position, and Zelenko's dropped 4 places at the drop of a hat. So van der Stroy had an opportunity, so Leon Zelenko just drifted off to the left going through turn number 7. So the Croatian is going to drop towards the bottom part of the top 10. Five minutes and 40 seconds still remain on the clock, plus an additional lap, and this could be a crucial start to how Tommy van der Stroy wants to finish things off. But however, there is a little bit of a battle. Maxime Sechurko versus Boluet. Or actually, that looks to be Leon Zelenko, just keeping an eye on where he's dropped down to. Zelenko and Sechurko battling over 7th position. So at the moment, Austin Lee leads the way by 1.7 seconds. Kasper Schürmanns, Tommy van der Stroy round out the top 3. Gustav Zusakovs, Mikkel Pedersen, Alberto Kiko Fracassi, Leon Zelenko, Maxime Sechurko, Boluet, Enzo Bol, Max Cuthbert, Scott Marsh, Aaron Krepsik, Georgios Kafantaris, and Lithuania's Tomas Rudokas round out the top 15 positions. Maximilian Schreier has now made his way up into the top 20. 20th position behind Switzerland's Tino Sidler. So a German on the recovery train here on home soil, of course. So coming up to just under 4.5 minutes remaining. Austin Lee still continues to try and stretch that advantage. It's the pendulum has sort of stopped swinging, and it's now nearly 1.75 seconds. Drivers wrestling with the steering wheel as they head through the exit of turn 2 and into turn number 3. Sechurko has got past Zelenko for 7th position, but Scott Marsh has made up a place, getting past Max Cuthbert. So now Scott Marsh finds himself in what will be 11th place, and he's 1.5 seconds behind Enzo Bol, who started from the back and bolted up the order very, very quickly, overtaking 3 drivers on the first approach through the outside of turn number 3 on the opening lap. And a great showing here by Maksim Sachurko from Lithuania. The 2:35 is closing in on Strawberry Racing's Italian of Alberto Chico Fracassi as we're heading into close to the final 3 minutes. The lead now extends to nearly 2 seconds as Austin Lee continues to set fastest lap after fastest lap. He's done it again in 1 minute 5.687. As the drivers hurtle their way through turns 1 and 2 under the gantry, into the right-hand sweeper at turn 3. And sometimes with that right-hand sweeper, you've got to really have your throttle modulation on point. As now Sachurko is past Fracassi for 6th position. A great turn for the Lithuanian. And both Sachurko was shining through the first 2 heats before a retirement in Heat 3 yesterday afternoon. As now Mikkel Pedersen from JJ Racing catches up with DHR's Gustav Zusakovs in the 2:89. Who has had 2 pole positions this season and a steady run of 2nd place finishes in the heat, so a good consistent weekend from the Latvian. Lap number 8 completed, lap 9 underway, gap now just over 2 seconds as Pedersen trying to close on into Yusakovs for that 4th place. And that is for what will be 13 points. So those 2 drivers in 4th and 5th respectively making their way through into turn number 8. For the chicane here, very extensive chicane I might add, through turns 9 and 10. And you can see that Mikkel Pedersen leaning on the appropriate side of the axles on the front and the rear to get the kart turning in nicely, using his body weight to shift the momentum and also the purchase down onto the surface. Some great battles a bit further down the order. Just picked up Noah Janssen getting past Tino Sidler. They're battling for 20th position as we go into the final minute. Austin Lee now extends his lead over Kasper Schulmans to just over 2.35 seconds. And now into lap number 10. So Austin Lee makes his way through turns 9 and 10. Now Schulmans does, and then Van der Stroys. Van der Stroys at the moment is fractionally quicker than Kasper Schulmans, but not enough to worry his countryman in front of him. But Austin Lee did have the fastest lap of the race. Now it's Maksim Sachurko, who is less than 7.5 tenths of a second. He's not even that, because look, there's Sachurko, and he's going all over the outside of Mikkel Pedersen. A great textbook switchback from the 2:35 from Lithuania over the crest into turn number 13. Pedersen swings wide. Sachurko uses the curbs. They nearly touch coming out of the final corner. The pair are side by side. And they are still side by side. Sachurko's got through. Great move by the Lithuanian, but he drifts a little bit wide. Does not allow Pedersen to get through out of turn number 3. Goes on to the defensive. Pedersen has to swing wide. Now tries to get the undercut. Can't get through because Sachurko goes back onto the racing line through turn 5, but a great exchange from the pair. Sachurko again using the curbing, which does not bump him wide enough to allow Mikkel Pedersen to get an opportunity to get through. The 11 minutes have now elapsed. The next time around, Austin Lee will get the final lap board for the first final. But what a drive. Maksim Sachurko started 11th on the grid, now in a genuine 5th position. Last lap board has shown, and the last lap is underway. On to lap number 12 we go. The lead between Austin Lee and Kasper Schulmans extends to 3 seconds. Van der Stroys holding station in 3rd place, 2.3 seconds ahead of Gustav Zusakovs. It's a little bit of a dogfight. Looks to be Alan Krepsik, Boluet and Max Cuthbert rounding out the top 13. Enzo Boll now 9th Scott Marsh now 10th. But there is your race leader, Austin Lee. Already this season, he's had a couple of good finishes. He's had a 5th, he's had 2 4ths, but now it'll be the first time this season that he will have a run at a race victory in the finals on finals day. Over the crest comes the 272 from JJ Racing out of turn 13. One more corner remains. 2 wins in the heats yesterday, and Austin Lee takes the victory in the opening final for Junior Rotax here today. Casper Schormans finishes 2.9 seconds behind, and it's advantage Tommy van der Stroys as he takes P3 in the battle for the Vice Championship. Gustav Susakovs held off Maxim Sicherko to the tune of just over 4/10 of a second for 5th place, with Maxim Sicherko on the final lap of the race setting the fastest lap, 1 minute 5.498. Mikkel Pedersen in 6th, Alberto Kiko Fracassi 7th, with Leon Zelenko, Enzo Boll and Scott Marsh rounding out the top 10 positions. So looking back at the rest of the results from 11th downwards, it was Aaron Krepsik pipping Max Cuthbert to 11th position, with Bolowet from Belgium, Georgios Kafantaris and Tomas Rudokas, both from Greece and Lithuania, rounding out the provisional point scorers in this opening final here on Sunday. Dion van Werven, Maximilian Schreier after that spin coming out of turn 3 on lap 1 recovers nicely to finish in 17th. Martin Ernesto Varga, Vic Stevens and Noah Janssen complete the top 20. Olivier Jonkers, starting from the back of the grid, would end up in 21st ahead of Tino Sidler. Aljas Vidmar, Lotus Tveen, Leandro Fischer and Sebastian Koch rounding out the 26 strong grid. Every single driver making it to the checkered.